MMOs were coming out like clockwork in the early 2000s. The allure of membership fees was just way too much for any company to ignore. I mean, the MMO formula back then was pretty simple to crack. Step 1, create a giant world with missions that take forever to complete. Step 2, make a leveling system that takes forever to make progress in. And step 3, create a world that's just charming enough, and boom, you captured an audience that's willing to pay the $9.95 membership fee until the day they die. The ultimate goal? To get them to forget about the membership fee charging their credit card every month. There were so many of these games that I only ever heard of because of their TV commercials. I mean, Toontown, Fusion Fall, City of Heroes, City of Villains. You thought mobile game ads on YouTube were invasive? Just turn on Nickelodeon circa 2006. Please ask your parents before going online or steal their credit card while they're not looking. Both options have their risks. Today, we're talking about Wizards101. Wizard101 is an MMORPG developed by Kingsisle Entertainment. It takes place in the mystical world of the Spiral, a universe that connects a bunch of different themed lands. Consider it like Westworld, but good. I've never seen Westworld, I just wanted to have a hot take. Wizard101 features an ever-expanding story, characters, world, and lore that has been appreciated by all sorts of fans. I mean, dang, I stan Merle Ambrose. Cute little wrinkles. And despite being lodged in the distant memory part of your brain, it's actually still around and still receiving updates. Look at those HD textures, they're so HD. Wizard101 is something that I know I saw commercials for as a kid, but I never really played or got into. It wasn't until YouTube user Haedox slipped into my DMs and said, hey, have you heard of Wizard101? That I started to look into it more. We've been working on this collab video for about 2 years and -3 months. So it's finally out. So let's go say hi to Wizard Nick Jonas, Wizard Selena Gomez, and take a look at Wizard101. Before we continue, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Raycon. You can use my link in the description down below to get 15% off of your order of premium wireless Raycon earbuds. Stay tuned until the end of the video to hear more. Kingsisle Entertainment was founded in 2005 by Eli Killian, you know, like the guy from Iron Man 3. Killian had previously owned a communication firm which sold for like $325 million. And like all businessmen, he looked towards his children for his next idea. His kids must have been playing like Sonic the Hedgehog 2 or something, because the concept of video games impressed him so much that he decided his next business venture had to be making video games. Starting in 2005, Kingsisle started to poach game talent in the Austin, Texas area in order to start a studio. Yeehaw. And then 3 years later, in 2008, Kingsisle announced their existence alongside an aggressive and competitive marketing campaign for their first game, Wizard101, or as I like to call it, Wizards101.
Who will save Wizard City?
This may be the one.
They'll have to be brave.
The game quickly gained a following, and by 2011, it amassed over 20 million players, none of which were me. The game has many themed worlds, like Bearland. Alongside thousands of other whiz kids, you, the gamer, attend the Ravenwood School of Magical Arts. At the beginning of the game, you design your character and take a quiz, which is what decides what school you will join. This is my character, William Willow Wielder.
And this is my decade-old wizard Sona, Paul Ironblade, hero of Wizard City, or master artisan.
Quit flexing, YouTube user Haedox. Considering I wouldn't be able to explore many parts of this game without a higher level wizard escorting me around, I've invited Paul Ironblade Dox to show me around Wizard City. Consider introducing yourself.
Hi.
All right. Missions and quests in this game are pretty standard Morpja fare. You get tasked with finding certain characters, beating a certain number of certain enemies, and getting sent on certain errands to find certain items that are certainly randomly dropped by certain enemies. It's certainly tedious, and I'm going to save this audio clip for the next MMO I talk about because I guarantee you I can reuse it. The combat in Wizard101 is pretty unique. It's card-based like Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, but I'm sure that comparison is not appreciated. In combat, you have a deck comprised of damage, modifiers, and support cards which are randomly shuffled before the beginning of each encounter, meaning you can absolutely start the fight with a bad draw, but some player control is given by sacrificing lesser cards to draw more powerful one-time use golden cards. cards. Each costs a certain number of pips, these little glowy guys, and each turn you gain a new pip. Sometimes one might be a power pip. 2 glowy guys for the price of 1.
There's also crit bonuses from Celestia, the pet spells that you can get because you can train all of these different pets. There's more advanced stuff that you can do with a different level of...
Haedox, save that for Wizard101, please.
Billiam, please shut the f*** up.
Yes, sir, Mr. Paul Ironblade, sir. So while you continue to play, you're cycling through your deck while also balancing your pip count, which makes it a little more interesting than just selecting your most powerful attack over and over again. You can set up enemies with damage boosts, protect yourself with a shield, or carry your wizard friends by protecting them.
And here's where your school of choice comes in. Balance, life, ice, storm, fire, myth, and the one that Merle picked for me, death. Each school comes with its own strengths and weaknesses, and by that I mean if you're a life wizard, good luck.
I picked life.
Balance tends to focus on building turns for higher damage output or buffing friends and undermining opponents. Death can do some moderate numbers, but the trade-off is that their spells suck enemies out of their life for your benefit. Storm is raw power, but it fizzles a lot, and life sucks.
Some of these spells go crazy. I mean, here's my little leprechaun friend who hacks your shit up while reciting beautiful poetry. I cry every time. You can conjure my good friend Humongo Frog, who spits up on all enemies. There's this colossal frost giant, which they used in several ads despite taking 2 months membership minimum to acquire. My favorite is the Call of Krulu, a Walmart generic brand tentacle beast monster compared to active ingredients in Cthulhu.
Needless to say, if you played Wizard101, seeing new animations and gaining new spell cards was the hook to keep you coming back. I got addicted because my 3rd grade crush came over one day and said,
Fuck Mario Sunshine, we're playing Wizards 101!
So I grinded for her to show her a death card worthy of a true wizard, the Wraith. I haven't talked to her since 3rd grade, but I did get that Wraith. Was it worth it? You tell me. No, you go.
Oh yeah. Through beating bad guys, you get XP, random drops in gold, the game's non-premium currency. Like real life, with gold, you can buy all sorts of accessories and friends. However, a lot of the really cool stuff has to be purchased with crowns, the game's premium currency. You can quickly sink a lot of money into the game if you get into it enough. At around 10 USD for 5,000 crowns, you'll quickly take out that second mortgage on the house your grandmother left you. And while the bank might foreclose on Nana's childhood home, they can't repossess your jewel scarab beetle. What are they gonna do? Call the wizard police? They're not gonna touch a guy with a jewel scarab beetle. I'm like the Mummy 1999 with Brendan Fraser. Pretty good. Crowns can buy a lot of things, but most importantly, my best friend Princess Samantha. A million poets working for a million years could not describe how I feel for this here pal of mine here. She's pretty good. While you start the game in the wizarding world of Wizard City, you slowly gain access to more worlds through these diplomat characters who bring you with them. Detective Dog brings you around Detective Dog World, the Viking Bears show you around Viking Bear World, and the Kung Fu Cows bring you to Mushu. You can just have your over-leveled friend show you around. I have avoided every single one of these enemies in later areas because I will literally die after the first turn. I am so scared.
While Billiam here makes a mockery of the rich tapestry that is the lore, there's tons of lovable and memorable characters in all these worlds. I mean, Grendel Sapscar, Yngvar Sharptooth, and
Nick Jonas.
Help me.
As an expert Wizard101 historian, I could give a full 75-minute lecture about the intricacies of the mythology and history.
But in the spirit of my channel, we're gonna keep it short and sweet, right, Paul Ironblade? Sir?
Fine. Currently, this chronicle is comprised of 3 arcs, but the most well-known is the first, Malastair Misses His Dead Wife, the video game. Each arc of the game has you traveling to the other worlds. Each world has their own story, but it all somehow relates to the schemes of the overarching villain. In Crocotopia, you have to obtain the Croconomicon, fight Crocopatra, and eventually have to go to the Royal Museum in Marleybone because she left the book in her coffin. Maybe, but at the same time, Moriarty, a notorious crime lord, is freed by Malastair to steal the book before you—
Wait, who's Malastair? What the heck is the Croconomicon? Meowiarty? Like cats? I love cats. Hi, baby. Thank you. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
Oh yeah, I should have mentioned Malister's dead wife Sylvia. I've been dying to talk about Malister's dead wife Sylvia. Seems like old Malister is still for his dead wife Sylvia because he threatens to eradicate all of life itself to bring her back. Malister said, let's summon the Dragon Titan, but Cyrus Drake, Malister's twin brother, is all pee-pee poo-poo about this whole conundrum because let's be real, Cyrus's school is right next to Sylvia's school for a f***ing reason. It's the classic dead loved one sparks a sociopathic spiral into resurrection at the cost of the universe. Like Evangelion. Everything here is Evangelion. Fellas can relate. The first arc is pretty cliche, but it leads to a fairly emotional send-off for both Malister and Sylvia. It's pretty nice.
All right, the wiki says the next arc is spiders and bigger spiders after that, so that seems fun too. Love a second arc that prominently features spiders. The aesthetic of the game reminds me a lot of Harry Potter. I know the comparison isn't appreciated totally, but it's not a bad thing. I mean, all 20th century fantasy is kind of based on Lord of the Rings anyways. I mean, even Wizard101 has a reference to that walking tree Groot from Junior Tolkien's Lord of the Rings 2, The Desolation of Smaug. Before the films took over the brand image for Harry Potter, a lot of the visuals were rooted in that classic illustrated children's fantasy aesthetic. I mean, it had personality outside of, this sort of looks like Tim Burton. God, I want to strum Merle Ambrose's wrinkles like a guitar.
The aesthetic is nostalgia incarnate. There's something about the music that just screams chocolate milk, summer vacation, and a Windows XP desktop. Walking around Wizard City after almost a decade, the low-poly textures in the soundtrack ratatouille you back to a simpler time. Boomer Billiam, otherwise known as Fake Fan 45, can't relate. When I get old and they put me in a home, all they gotta do to revamp that memory of mine is, put on some Wizard101.
When you mention aesthetic, does that include the Comic Sans in the game?
Especially the Comic Sans.
But if you want to make it big in the wizarding world quickly, you totally can. I have some tips and tricks for those of you who want to be pro players. If you're looking to move your way up in the world quickly, consider this. Have more money. Access to the other worlds beyond Wizard City is behind, of course, a paywall. At least Wizard101 gives you a few options for payment. The first is a pay-to-play model, where you pay a crown fee to access individual areas. This option really is ridiculous, unless you really just want to access one particular world. I mean, the Viking Bears are totally worth it, but Firecat Alley, forget about it. You can end up spending a metric butt ton if you want to access everything individually. While this option may have been better as the worlds were slowly rolling out, the much better option now is the monthly membership. You get access to everything at once for $10 a month. As long as you don't forget about the charge by the time you're done playing the game, it is probably the better option. Between accessories, clubhouse customizations, pets, mounts, mount accessories, dear Princess Samantha here, there's plenty to spend money on in Wizards101. It's pretty common for long-running MMOs to eventually get to the point where the player base isn't as large as it once was, but the game is able to stay afloat thanks to whales. Thank you, whales. Whales are players who spend an unreasonable to you amount of money on a game. I mean, some players have multiple decked out wizards over multiple accounts, an army of Princess Samanthas, and have made their way through the game's major storylines multiple times. With an ever-relying importance on gift cards, many people tried to crack the key generator code to produce their own gift cards. Sites and YouTube videos offering free Wizard101 crowns popped up everywhere. And like any 13-year-old Billiam trying to illegally download Photoshop to give himself abs would know, key generators can be sketchy. Going online, there's tons of people who must have started blaming the game directly for malware, to the point where it's commonly believed that Wizard101 is a virus. But Kingsisle obviously denies this, and I'm pretty positive it does not give you a virus as well. I've had this game on my computer for like 2 years, and nothing has gone wrong. Malister? Malware. Oh, Wizard101's popularity declined at a rate that is pretty similar to every other old MMO. New stuff came along, old players lost interest, but the whales kept playing, including me, who forgot to cancel their Wizard101 membership 2 years ago when we started working on this video and has continued to pay for it even though we haven't been working on it actively. Enjoy my $200+ Kingsisle Entertainment. I hope you enjoy it.
let's not talk about how much money they've taken from me. I'm so sorry, Nana. Wizard101 players speculate about shady management, favoritism within the community for feedback, and unorganized workplace management for the game's decline, but let's just call it a day and blame Pirate 101, the game's successor. This is a baseless claim, but I want to spark a rivalry within the player bases. Billiam, why are you making me say this? Why do you want to hurt my brand reputation?
Garfield cart, haha. So Eli Achillian probably saw his kids playing the mobile port of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 or something because he was so impressed by mobile games that Kingsisle has now started to move in that direction. Wizard101 is still receiving updates, with major texture improvements and a remix score continuing to be rolled out, which just started last year. Although many Wizard101 players have lost interest in the game, it's really cool to see that it's still out and being supported because so many other similar games of the time can't say the same. Wizard101 is a pretty fun MMO. I mean, it's got attacks with more personality than they know what to do with, a world that's just charming enough that you'll pay the membership fee until the day you die, and allow it to be charged to your credit card even after you forgot you're not playing it anymore, in Princess Samantha. It just suffers from the same monotony that every other MMO suffers from. Oh, and by the way, if you share this video, if you comment, if you like it, if you share it with all of your friends, your family, your house representatives, then you can be entered in a chance to win free crowns, free Wizard101 crowns. Just click here. Just go to the website down below in the description and follow me on social media. That was a lie. Thank you again to Raycon for sponsoring this video. If you use my link in the description, you can get 15% off of your order. Raycon premium wireless earbuds are here to disrupt the premium wireless earbuds world. It's great build quality, great design, and great sound for like half the price of everything else that's on the market. I carry my wireless earbuds with me everywhere. Well, not so much everywhere right now, but everywhere within my apartment. So I'm actually really excited to be working with Raycon. The new everyday E25s are super slick. They come in a bunch of different fun colors and have a really nice bass level. They're actually a blast to listen to. I find myself listening to a lot more music recently because of them. I mean, just ask some of my peers, like Snoop Dogg, who loves Raycons. Hey Snoop Dogg, we should get together soon and talk about our Raycons. To be honest, the default size gels out of the package didn't fit me, so I just swapped them out with a different size that's included right in the package, and now they're super comfortable. They've been really convenient as of late. Of course, we're staying inside a whole lot, almost entirely. So Arizona, my lovely girlfriend, roommate, and personal therapist, and I have been sharing the same space a whole lot more. Being able to exercise out in the living room without disrupting her world is really a necessity right now. It's really great because E25s block out sound enough to the point where I can continue to listen to my music and she can watch whatever she wants on TV. We can be in our own worlds while also standing like 2 feet apart. So if you're interested, click the link in the description to get 15% off of your order, and thank you again to Raycon for sponsoring this video. Well, hey, if this is your first video of mine, please consider subscribing, commenting, following me on social media, links in the description, and thank you to special guest Haedox for helping me out with this. We were working on this for 2 years, but I wouldn't have been able to do it without him. Would you like to say anything?
Billiam, if you ever call it Wizards101 again, I'll be upset. And I already am.
Well, alright then. Anyways, I'm tired, I'm stressed. I will see you next week.